ask you a question. When you look in the mirror, what do you even see?
I tried so hard. I can't change what I did, but I can change what I do now.
Welcome to the Flicks Picks and the Nitpicks, and I'm your humble host, Nove 718, and let's get it. Right now I'm a little tight. I was over here, started the review, and I must have been yapping for like a little over 5 minutes. It ain't nothing was being recorded. Oh my gosh, that's just so whack. But anyways, we're here now, man. Take 2. Let's do it. Basically, in a nutshell, what I want to do is, this is the Flicks Picks and the Nitpicks, where we move everything over, and we're going to talk mostly series. I normally like talking movies, but I did want to do some series review, and I'm going to review a show that I actually really like. I think it's probably one of the best written shows that was out for quite some time, and if you like gangster, hustler shows and films, and you love that type of vibe, man, you're going to love this show. You know, it's very authentic in a lot of different ways, especially some of what I've heard, like New York street Spanglish, if you will. A lot of people been praising how this is so unique to how New York Latinos talk. So that was actually very interesting. And I say all of that to say this. I want to catch you guys up if you haven't seen the show, but it's basically about a character named Ghost from Queens, him and his best friend. And they've actually grown this bond, a brothership, if you will. And it's about these two being raised by their OG named Kanan. Kanan gets arrested. They end up blowing up on their own in the drug business, making their own bones and becoming their own bosses. And along with Ghost's girlfriend, now wife, they build this crime family in New York, from the streets to basically your lower Manhattan, where they live at, and their kids know nothing about the environment in which they grew, but Ghost has his feet in the streets. By the name Ghost, a lot of people don't know who he is. He's actually created a name for himself on the streets and a presence, but it's elevated to such a point where he didn't even need to appear anymore. And he literally became the ghost of the streets, supplying and buying, moving, and laying down folks if you in the way. And there's a lot of paper to be made washing it in his club. But it's your classic story of a street hustler that wants to go legal. He's tied too much to it via his brother. And the great thing about these characters is that when you look at the brother, Tommy, and Ghost, they couldn't be even aesthetically furthest apart. One is black, one is white. Ghost is actually just as street as Tommy, but he's the suit and tie guy that wants to evolve and leave. You could clearly see it in his swagger. Whereas Tommy is 10 toes into the streets. He is your DMX character, and he pulls it off. You know, the thing is that one of the biggest linchpins to pushing these characters forward, you know, with Ghost raising Kanan, their OG son, basically as his surrogate, but referred to specifically as that's his nephew. He's the uncle, and so's Tommy. But you could really tell that Kanan's son was up underneath him, and through the trials and tribulations of life, and trying to stay in the streets and beefing even amongst each other, and still trying to keep this family together, they lose a lot just to gain the dreams that they all were trying to get. And their dreams tend to shift over the years of course of 5 seasons. That said, now Angela is somebody that Ghost grew up with, that enters back his life and is the catalyst and the biggest motivation for him to push his character from the street drug life and murderous life of it to going legal. She's the one that got away, that when she comes back, it's almost like timing for him, for where he's at in his life and what he's trying to do. She becomes the biggest motivation for him to get out of it, this game. The thing that's great about Ghost is he's a thinking man. He's not just brawn. He's mostly all thought and knows how to one up his opposition, but is never afraid to put in the work himself and get his hands dirty. But we get to a point now where we're at the end of last season, and like I said, through trials and tribulations and things that Ghost felt he needed to do, even though he loves his brother Tommy, he does a lot of effed up shit. Effed up on his face, but if you know the kind of guys they are, I mean, their effed up is a whole other kind of effed up, but it's still effed up nonetheless. And being in the street, that he's employing a lot, and him being the brains more, because that's what he does. He's a thinking man. He's more the chess player. He thinks so many steps ahead of Tommy. Like the way they move great together, and Tommy is so like ready to go there physically that they're of two extremes, but when they're together they make a great balance. You know, he knows how and when to put Ghost in that position of, you got to put that work in. And Ghost is a guy that just knows how to move the pieces right and keep them far out of trouble, and Tommy. That said, now we're here. Last season, they went from 8 episodes a season to 10, but this last episode will be 15 from what my cousin told me. So let's just get into a quick 5 minutes broad strokes of non-spoiler talk, and then we'll get into spoiler territory, and we'll just get the picks and the nitpicks out the way. So let's do it.
He couldn't even be there for his family the time we needed him most.
How would you feel if something really bad happened to him?
To be honest, I don't know.
James, your ship is going down. I ain't going down with it.
We're done with Ghost.
Non-spoiler. First episode, Murderers. Power. First and foremost, I wonder if you name it Murderers like the first album of Murder Inc. It's just funny to me. 50 Cent, Murder Inc. Just wanted to put it out there. But anyways, they do live up to the name of this episode, and they just go right into it off of Angela being shot at the end of last season. We find out what happens, and if you didn't know, the bullet really wasn't meant for her. Tommy was fed up with it, and that bullet really was meant for his brother Ghost. But Angela saw him, moved him out the way, and she took the bullet in the chest. We see what the fallout of it, where this goes. Did I like the episode? Yes or no? I told my cousin, like when I watched it last night with him, because he's seen it already, but he was like, let's watch it. He said there was a point in the episode in which he felt like it was like the end of Juice, and he thought it was real corny, like Juice the movie. And I knew what he was talking about. The part where he says you got the juice now. We'll talk about that in the spoiler, but just keep that in mind. And it was a whack little moment. But they employ a lot of useless tropes. Like they was, one thing I liked about Power was its authenticity in how New York streets would move. Even down to like the Spanglish that's being spoken, the slang. From what I understood, it's very authentic to New York's Spanish street slang. Certain things you can just see it. It is very authentic in a lot of ways. That being said, some of the things that was happening in this episode, just to get them to a point, was like, yo man, you would have thought that it would have took time before Ghost and Tommy would have actually been in the same room together. They're in the same room in the first episode of the season, and you would have figured shit would have just went a whole other kind of way. You'd have thought that would have been a build up. A lot of things they did so quick in the first episode just to get them there that it felt like it's gonna be like a whole lot of typical writing just to get them to a certain place. Like, I was talking all types of shit like, yo, they're gonna team up against an even bigger foe. And put this stuff aside, and they're gonna have to fight the Thanos of it all, and somehow, some way, they were gonna come back to a point in which everything was cool again. And I can see it happen, but they've done that already, where they've been at odds and a bigger villain needed to be handled. They been in those situations more than once, where they have to team up again. So for it to get to this point, it was like, yo, like, now it's not even just hack writing. It's like you're hacking something that you've done already just to write yourself into a position where these guys do not just literally have to just kill each other. You know what I'm saying? So that said, for them to be in the same space so quickly and it looked real cheese, I don't know, like, I wasn't feeling it. Reek, I don't even like. You know, I don't know if it's his acting or how he acts the character, but I don't like him. And maybe that's the mark of a great actor. But certain things about him be like, yo, that's how you act, or as opposed to your acting, or this is the character, how he acts. Because either way, I don't like it. Run me wrong. That said, now, we get to see, like I said, all the aftermath of everything build up to this point to set you up on a narrative to where they're going to go. And like I said, a lot of things happen real fast. So much happens in this one episode to get things started. But it felt like you just wanted to get everything situated so you could get things started instead of being authentic to way things would move had those things actually happen like that. You know, it was just the same thing when Raina died in the other season, where they could have had so many real deep, strong moments and character development moments and real dramatic things that was kind of thrown to the waste. They kind of like jumped forward past a lot of the funeral and the grievances just to get to the next point. And it was like, I know you got to tell the story, but yo, man, you left a lot of things that could have developed these characters even more, made you buy into them a whole lot. You know, and could have really written some amazing dialogues that could have really spoke to the hearts of a lot of people, because you're dealing with a lot of elements that's actually authentic to humanity. I mean, life and love, old flames that just never went out. You're dealing with a lot of things that human beings deal with all the time. The ones that got away. Is it worth it? Cheating, infidelity, issues with your kids finding out who you really are as a human being, that you're not Superman or Superwoman. Like, there's just a lot of things that I felt like when Raina died, that we could have done with that just to get him to a certain point to move the story along. They just went to the next thing, and I felt like they missed the potential of how far they could have pushed these actors and these characters in some amazing personal moments that I think that would have fleshed out and made you buy into them a lot more, so that when things happen, you get emotional, a strong emotional attachment as they occur. But to wrap this bad boy up, for those that, I mean, I liked it. I mean, if I have to, I'll be honest with you, it's like, I give it a 70, like a C minus, C. I'm still entertained, and I see how certain things happen near the end that make me say, all right, I can see how you allowed for that to happen so we could get them there. But still, I felt like no one would move that kind of way to get to that point. Otherwise, it almost seems like not authentic. You're writing it from a place of a person that watches a lot of movies about this. and you're just winging it a little bit just to get these characters to a point. Whereas the person that would do the homework to see, well, what would you do in these type of incidences, yada, 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 legally, and how would things move so that we could see these characters develop in a more natural way, as opposed to you're just now just trying to wrap this. Like, you can almost hear the person in the background say, yeah, we got to wrap this up. We got to get them there. Move this one along. So, yeah, I just don't want to see these characters go down the wrong path of predictable writing. Or we get to a point where they're dragging things out now because you put them so quickly in each other's space. Like, how long are you going to drag this out without employing one of the tropes of past? They have to, Tommy and Ghost will be at odds until they have to go after a bigger threat, Thanos. You know what I'm saying? And they'll be like, whoa, bro, whoa. But that's my non-spoiler. Now, it's time to get into the spoiler shit.
Why was Uncle Tommy after you?
As long as you keep rocking with him, then I can't trust you. Help me get Ghost.
This is what I wanted.
If I could help you, I'm staying. You made this mess, you fix it.
This is war.
Let's talk spoilers. I'm going to go bring this up real quick on the phone so we could be in a good space with it when we just talk about what we got to talk about. Basically, in a nutshell, we already know what happened. Angela gets shot. Now, spoiler again, so I'm going to give you another shot. Alright, now let's do it. I did not expect them to kill off Angela. I really didn't expect to see that. Give me 1 second. I just want to pull this up real quick. All right, now she's dead now. Tommy killed her. We had a point of no return. We find out that T already has figured out that I forgot the bald-headed gentleman, that the lawyer. He's more than likely no longer with us, and she already knows that Ghost had something to do with it. She finds out that Tommy was really aiming at Ghost, and it seems that now Tasha's willing to see Ghost die, the father of her kid. What happens in this episode, we see Ghost coming to terms with the death of Angela. When she gets rushed to the hospital, she's proclaimed dead. She sees Angela's sister, and the sister already screaming bloody murder. She doesn't like Jamie. She believes that her sister would be alive had it not been for Jamie. She should have stayed away. And he's trying to tell her that we just couldn't stay away from each other, and basically you're the reason she died, and she's not lying. And this is where we really needed to really hold Ghost accountable for his actions all throughout the season. You have turned an honest USDA into a two-bit gangster. All because she loves you, man. You brought her into your world, basically a very clean woman, and dirtied her up. And that's not me half-stepping. And I'm going to quicker person to even say that the only way you could cast the shadows if you had a little bit of darkness in you to begin with, and clearly she did. But I feel like everyone does that, and he dug deep, and it took the 4-letter word with the capital L in front of it to bring you to a point where you're somebody that you never really once was. And now we're here now. You're so tied to his lifestyle to save him, to protect him, because you was in fact chasing him until you found out that Ghost, the street criminal that you thought was kind of like just some shit in the streets, and now you realizing that, yo, this is a real person, and you find out that it's the guy that, the love of your life, it really tried who she was as a human being. And because he was such a priority to her, it allowed for her to have a crazy arc. And you start to see a darkness in Angela that she didn't even want to see. And at times, which I think she played it very well, Layla Lauren, that plays Angela Valdez, we see her look like she's even unsettled by the potential of her becoming this person. And then you get to a point where it's not even like now she's kind of villainous. She's just accepted that this is where she's at. And she starts to move with it. All of this just to protect Jamie, and actually, and even on some level, atone for her involvement in breaking up a family. Even though I still blame, that's 100% Jamie. 100%. You know what I'm saying? And Tia's no all the way a victim. But yo, Ghost, this begins and ends with you. And a lot of the decisions that you've made. And you could have made better decisions. There's better ways to do it. You were still trying to have your cake and eat it too. You could have broke up with T before you engaged with her. You could have made sure that you was completely out of the game. It's hard to do, I get it. But you put her into a bad position all the time. And I understand you tried to make things work because you were juggling a lot of things, a lot of acts. You was trying to keep a lot of people away from each other. Otherwise, Valdez would have been put down a long time ago. And a lot of people forget, yeah, her just being who she was and her being that good, they were going to cross paths regardless. It was him knowing her is the reason why he never put her down. And not because it's her, just anybody on his heels would have been put down if he had to do so. It just so happened to be her. And she's good at her job. And he's good at his. And they were the worst type of people from the furthest parts of business and lifestyle got together. And the baby that they created was this calamity that cost the lives of a lot of people. Inadvertently, directly, all types of shit. We see Tommy bringing in his new crew, which was Kanan's crew. Tommy's got the new connect, and he still got to wash the money through the club, but they got this beef out here in these streets right now. And I believe the Russian, he's dealing with, he can't fuck up his business with that. But Tommy never really was good at the business part of it. Don't get me wrong, he's a street dude. He can shake and bake, but the level in which that he's at, he tends to fly by the seat of his pants. Now he could pull some smart shit off, but a lot of his shit isn't calculated. It's really him moving in the pocket. Whereas a well-planned leadership would have avoided a lot of calamity and would have utilized more of the talents of all his better components in certain arrogated positions. And it was up to him to have to move the pieces together the right kind of way to get the best result for everyone. So Ghost lining up Tommy to have to murder his father because he was a rat, albeit ratting on Ghost, rat nonetheless. And I don't know that Ghost knew that he was just gonna rat only on Ghost. He knew he was gonna rat on Ghost, but he didn't. I don't think he knew 100% sure that he wasn't gonna give up Tommy. But he knew that Tommy was gonna have to be the one to put it down, because if Ghost did it, it just. I get the math. In your life, yeah, but it would have been in your life he would have had to have done it. But the fact that you set up the wheels in which of him to find out his father was a rat and him having to do it was some shady shit. You should have brought that to the table, all your information. But I understand what Ghost does. He knows what everyone's going to do, and he knows what needs to be done to keep the family together and keep everyone out of jail. Now, let's just get into the picks, man. Some of the big picks that one thing I want to let you guys know first and foremost is, now I put it in the picks and the nitpicks. My big picks are
Ghost, he's out there. You gonna run or you gonna stand and fight?
Everything I've lost is because of you. My home, my family, my life.
number one. We gotta talk about the fact that they went so quick to kill off Angela in the first episode. That was something that really stood out to me. It was a bold move that I did not expect them to really have it in them to just go out the way and just say, all right, this is how we're gonna set it off. And I really appreciate the bold writing in that aspect. My second pick is that I know this was the new guy taking over for, I forgot the lady's name. Who's that? All right, well, hold on. Trying to. Let me just look up the cast so I can get the names right. All right, it's gonna take me forever to pull up the guy, but I was really looking for the new head of the office that Angela was in. Because she died, a lot of people lost their job, and a new lady that came in, I forgot her name, the sister though, that she came in, she ended up losing her job, which was kind of fucked up, because a lot of this really was one of the agents, and I'm gonna get his name up too. Sachs. It was because of him releasing information to try to boister some sort of beef so they could get to a point where they could arrest Angela, because he really had a personal vendetta against her. Led to her death. You put out the information that Tommy's father was a rat. You kind of was in the middle of all of that. That led to this. So now, to cover your ass a little bit, you're running around trying to squeeze people to now fix this whole shit because you feel a little guilty. But the new head of office, he comes in and he goes right in and admits it from the very beginning. Yo, there was a breach in this office and it was me. And they had the whole conversation right down there. And I'm like, okay. And the new head of the office is like, well, you know, I could arrest you right now and have you in cuffs. And then he moves right along. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, nah, but I can get them. Nigga, you doing this little funny stuff behind the scenes on some extracurricular activity just to arrest Angela is the reason that you got one of the people in your office murdered. And furthermore, witness. And now I gotta trust you, Mr. Gumshoe, to do something right by this and bring Ghost in. You know who Ghost is? It's Jamie. I had a hard time buying that. Like, it's James St. Patrick. He's Ghost. And he's like, all right, I'll go with what you're gonna do. I'm like, what? I sat there in front of my cousin. I was like, yo, bro, this is goofy. How isn't he arresting him and everybody to leak and charge it to the game? Because at this point, you did too much. It's too sloppy. We'd have to start from scratch on evidence and everything that we need to do to go try to get St. Patrick, or wait till he comes into our crosshair. Or if we got enough information to know that these two are gonna go at it, then yo, all we can do is just wait till the shit goes down and pick up the pieces, and hopefully we can that will be reason enough that we could build a case to get him. But at this point, this shit is so fucking messy that anybody does any deeper further investigation, more heads will roll. They already put one of the last head of office. They put her back to the employment line. She goes. Someone had to be the fall guy or girl. I wouldn't want to like do that. And I want you to keep that in mind on this pick. I wouldn't want to do that. That's why they just seem authentic. But I see where they were trying to redeem themselves. But next pick. The confrontation between Tommy and Ghost was weird. It was weird as fuck. He shows up in his house and they're scuffling. They're scuffling? Angela died. You risked everything and everyone over Angela. And I can understand you just wouldn't want to shoot him. But it seemed so uneventful, unclimactic for us to get here in the first episode. No build up. It just happens. And it was nothing impressive about it. And not to say that it had to be, but by the time you see Reek show up at the door and break it up, it was just like, it just looked like two brothers arguing over who ate my ice cream. It looked like that one scene in the extended cut of what was it, Firm Biz, the music video. Look it up. Love that video. When Nas and AZ seen each other, was fighting in the office, and they just dead it up right then and there and like, sit down. And then we keep on going with what we trying to sell in this music video, and that's what it seemed like. There was fighting, and I ain't gonna front, the gun did fall and slide. Reed came in, he picks up the gun, but it looked like a scuffle. It just looked weird. And then Reed gets in the middle of it, and then he's like, what are you doing here? And it's like, yo, you already lost your daughter. I would have figured you would have put hands on this kid. And you ain't got to beat him up, but you would have said, yo, grab your pistol and grip him up. He talking to you like, yo, well, I need an hour, Uncle Tommy. I need 10 minutes, 5. I came to see Uncle Tommy. Well, he ain't your uncle no more. When I came, and you ain't telling me nothing. It's like, what? What the fuck is this? You got 10 minutes. And then he goes, leaves. Are you fucking kidding me? And I understand what it is. The brothers, that's the nephew. The nephew, the son don't know nothing about this. But it was real cheesy. I do respect the fact that when it comes to the kid, they're a certain kind of way. But it just seemed like I couldn't buy it. It looked real cheesy. If you couldn't write that scene to be more viable, I'd have wrote that completely out the way and find another scenario that would have been more convincing, more authentic to what's going on. It was just weird. You get 10 minutes. Another pick. When Reek is still in town and the mother shows up and he's like, well, I need 2 hours. I'm going to do something with Tommy before I go back up. Well, an hour. What the fuck is this? Like, y'all not Hustle Street people? You mean you don't tell me? You getting fucking car and I'm driving you back to school. What the fuck is this? It was just like, what is this? Y'all like, it's like you're doing stupid shit because you need the boy to be there to link up with Tommy so they can have the conversation on the roof so Tommy can figure it out that because he loves his nephew. But if I gotta kill your father, I'll do it. And and that's kind of believable because that's kind of what Ghost did to Kanan when they locked up Kanan. They were raising his son like he's your own, but the only reason why the father wasn't around his kid and you're doing the job is because you had him locked up. So yeah, I could get where that is actually believable, but no buts about it. I can see how you could make that work, but you did all of that to have him to get to the roof so they can have that conversation. And I felt like I'd rather go through a more convincing road than having to suspend a certain level of disbelief just for us to get these characters to a certain narrative point. And I think that may be it for the picks. I will put another pick out there. I was watching with my cousin and he had a pick that he noticed about Lala's character. Now, I'm not gonna lie. And that's Lakeisha. Oh yeah, Lakeisha, Lala. Ha, that's interesting. I didn't even notice. Look at it like that. But anyways. Everything that she did, and they finally introduced us to Team Crisscross, her son. And he was a horrible actor, by the way. Like, it was just like not buying him. I bought her for who she was. My cousin didn't. But he felt like that for her to have been so straight and narrow and not want to risk anything because of her son, that now she's hiding pistols and, she's doing and risking it all for him. It was just such a narrative twist on the fundamentals of her character that he just didn't buy what she was doing. But as we talked about, I was like, that makes it buyable. What? Because he fucked her? I'm like, that's kind of real. Like, when people get the fucking, people start having their judgment clouded, B. So yeah, I bought that. I could buy that. Their relationship made her start risking even the safety of her child. Because they had the whole moment when the boy was trying to get in the purse to get some money. And it seemed like that's just how it is. Like, your mom, like, can I get some money? Let me see. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's that kind of comfortable with his mother. But she was hiding the pistol, Angela's murder weapon. So she snatches it up and, gets an attitude and everything. She eventually gets rid of the pistol and throws it in the river. But he felt like she's just almost narratively becoming completely a character that she wasn't, to the point of where it just looks ridiculous. And I get it, because it kind of did, but when you really walk through all because he was fucking her, all because of, their relationship, which was kind of wonky at best, and it's like, yeah, people do shit like that. I was like, yeah, man, it's not out of the realm of human nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we're believers of human nature. So, but he still wasn't buying that. But I bought it, but it is something to note because we are starting to see them doing a lot of things just to get these characters to get them there. And I have no problem using it as a pick because it does, once he said it, it does stand out a little bit. Not in a, I could still buy it, but because I'm seeing them do a lot of little kind of goofy stuff to scenarios just to get these characters to certain positions in which they could get the story to get it to where they wanted to go, that it started making some of these relationships and moments, especially coming back, kind of without fruit. It took a lot away from it. From what we built and established from the amazing writing for the past 5 seasons, that it just for this to start off, it kind of like perturbed me. Now that's it for the picks.
Sometimes the people that you trust the most can turn on you with no warning.
It's the feds that you need to be worried about. Everything you do is always for you.
You lost me a long time ago, Ghost.
Next up, the nitpicks. And I do have a few nitpicks, but I want to keep these down to something in broader strokes before we get too long-winded, because I could chop up game about this all day long. But like I said, one of my biggest nitpicks is just one, the relationship between Reek and Ghost. I get it, and Ghost plays it well because he's a good actor. I don't know if the boy is just not a good actor because he just annoys me, but he's supposed to, and I get it. He just seems like he has no soul with it, and he seems real extra, like it's. And I don't know if they wrote him like that, like he wants to be this tycoon, but I can't buy it from him. It's just something that just the way this character is delivering it. But then at the same time, if he's supposed to elicit some sort of emotional, you know what I mean, response, then he's kind of supposed to, then he's kind of doing his job. I have to acknowledge. Also, another nitpick, and I will say this. I really didn't like that whole moment when Sax is talking to the new head of office, and he just basically spills the beans right then and there that, yo, the leak was me. Which I respected on some level because you could tell there's some guilt to it. But how the new head of office took it. But as you see it near the end, it looks like he's gonna use what you just told him to clean house. Tie everything up in a bow and also put Sax behind bars and bounce all of them. I wouldn't be surprised if he bounces the black guy, like just say fresh this office out. So I could see how he would be like, I will do that. And he's bringing the one, his, what's that, the other officer, the lady, the Spanish lady, I forget her name. Oh, Detective Blanca Rodriguez. She just so happens because she, and it makes sense to her character because she was actually really getting on her gum sleuth and not let her man go. And when she shows up in the office, it makes sense for that. And it also makes sense why he would kind of like throw her at him, because you can see that she's very ambitious, and it seems like he maybe he's as dumb as it looks. He's being smart by putting all of these irrational characters back around each other, and all I have to do is sit back, somebody's going to shoot them in the foot, and I'm going to get everybody. Because all I need is one to fuck up. Because I'm not going to jail for all of y'all. You already got one person in this office killed from being too involved in not only romantically with some guy that turned out to be the same person they're chasing, but everybody's personal issues led to the death of a witness, which was also a person and a member of the office. And even one of the other guys that was part of the office actually was a mole. And then you got this one guy, because he's trying to get her so bad that he sets wheels in motions, giving up a lot of information he had no business giving, that led to her death. And now someone had to be a fall guy. And back to the employment office you go, that one woman that just came in, and now she's out of a job. Yeah, I'm not trying to fuck with none of y'all, but I can see where he's like, yo, I'm gonna just put y'all all together and y'all gonna all fuck up, and I'm just gonna watch y'all all fuck up just to give me evidence, and I'm getting rid of every last one of y'all. I can find all the leaks. I'm gonna flood the building. I'm gonna put the water in the boat to find the leak. That's it. Or however that analogy can go. Because if there's a hole in there, the thing is going to eventually take on water. And if there's a lot of holes in this office, I'm going to put that bitch on the water. Fuck it. I'm going to put it in the water. This shit going to sink. If there's as many holes as I think, eventually you all going to drown yourselves in your own bullshit. But at the same time, the way he went about it just seemed like he was just way too agreeable for me, that it just almost started to seem goofy. That's why I'm trying to high road it and think that maybe he is playing it like almost like an idiot savant. But he's almost coming off very comic book villainy-esque in just the way that he's moving. It's almost like too much of a caricature, where these were very believable characters. In super extraordinary circumstances, of course, but needless to say, a lot of these characters were very rich characters. Next nitpick I would have really is like even how Tasha's handling her son. That was just a real bad nitpick to me. Seeing where everything was going, and I was actually glad that she actually expressed that, yo, like Angela at the same time, it wasn't Angela's fault what happened. This was all ghosts. So you can't hate Angela, and she did save your life. You know what I mean? In terms of going to jail and everything. And she took a lot of hit for that family. So she had to respect it. But she wanted Angela dead, just not that quick. And not like that. But the conversation she had with Tommy was they're just so matter of fact about the murders. But I can understand that you could get to that point, and that was a little bit of a nitpick. But I felt like it's missing something. These are characters that have long rich histories, and I felt like instead of being very character driven, this was more about the narrative to get them to a point so we could start to wrap this up. And I felt like it missed a lot. And when we get to that one point where the Russian lifts the keys from Tommy so the guy could drive the car to see if anything he was being tailed, he didn't know that his car was going to get shot up like that, and it was Ghost. And Ghost think that he killed Tommy, and he didn't. And that's not a nitpick. I actually like that scene. I just wanted to point that out. And I like how that played out. I need to watch that episode a little bit more because I felt like I might have missed one thing. Because I wasn't too sure if he knew it would be Ghost or he wanted to see if something else was going on. Because anytime Tommy shows up and he showed up with a black eye, he could tell something was wrong. So I'm not surprised if he would just wanted to see if he was being followed. But I wasn't clear if he knew that it was Ghost that did that, because it shot at one of his guys, and he didn't strike me as the type of guy that was willing to risk one of his guys just to prove a point. Unless he had to, but I didn't understand. I wasn't sure what point he was trying to prove in that moment that would have made him risk one of his guys. And I think it was one of his dudes that he seemed like he had a lot of respect for. But anyway, my last nitpick is just really the writing, man. It just feels like the writing just breathes like they're trying to get us to a point to wrap this up but tell this a new arc, as opposed to really dealing with what's going on, dealing with the aftermath. We still have time to deal with Angela's funeral, but I felt like I don't want to lose out on a lot of the drama that we could have had in dialogue and in very well scripted camera angles. And doesn't have to necessarily be montages and flashbacks, but in certain interesting ways in which we could show all of this for 5 years to get with her, and she dies at the beginning of the last season. I would have liked to have seen him go through the motions of knowing that he had to kill Tommy and coming with that decision, knowing that a lot of that was because of him. Especially after that fight where they were arguing. Because I get why he fought him instead of just shooting him. He wanted to know why. Why would you try to kill me? He didn't understand because they're brothers. But you tricked me into killing my father. And it was like, nah, he was a rat though. And you know what we do. You know what time it is. But like, yeah, but he was just going to rat on you. You should have told me. That's what he felt like. He killed his girlfriend for you. He killed his dad for you. And you never gave him all the information. He felt like, at what point you going to respect him enough to treat him like an equal. Whereas Tommy looks at it like, you are my equal. But certain things, that's not what you do. I'm the one that's always been 10 steps ahead. You've always been short-sighted. If we ran everything the way you would have, it would have looked good for the first 15 minutes before it would have went all to shit. And one thing I do respect is I think Ghost also knows that he always needed Tommy in some sort of fashion. But he always knew that he had to be the guy at the board moving the pieces. Because the way Tommy moves off emotion, he couldn't do business like that. He's a thinker. But their relationship is so much the way it is, and they work well, that he knows how to work the people around them, giving the propensity, their characters' propensities, and he'll put the positions and play it all in place to make things happen the way he felt would work best for everyone. And still, he still don't realize how selfish he is. Because and when I mean by everyone, he was supposed to always stand with Tommy first, us versus everyone, whereas opposed to you putting Angela in the position of everyone. And he always felt that you would choose Angela over him, whereas the thing is, he would risk his relationship to not have to make that decision for everyone. That's what he was trying to show. I risk my relationship with all of y'all to make sure all of us is good. But heavy lies the crown. But as I talk, I'm feeling not so bad about the episode. I'm still disappointed. I felt like the writing has been so much better that doesn't have me excited for this season. It really doesn't. Not right now. I hope it changes, because I love the other seasons that they've done. Like, it's been probably, and I don't want to be premature, but I definitely in my top 20 shows. I want to say even my top 10. It's not Sons of Anarchy, but in a way, I appreciate it doing it on a New York level. But all the things that I was talking about in terms of the character development SOA was better with delivering that. The character relationships. A lot better. And even at its best moments, like the earlier seasons, they were better with it. Power, that's why I always felt like Power could be in that position where he could get there. But as the seasons got on, I don't want to say the characters lost their way, but you could see that they had to focus more on the narrative because they had to play this back and forth with her and Ghost and make it make sense for this to go on for 5 years and them still be alive. There had to be consequences. That's why I'm not surprised they killed her. That being said, that's it for season 1, episode 1 review of Power. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you liked the breaks. Let me know what you guys think. Did you like it? Do you think I'm off? Do you think I'm onto something? Leave it in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time. And as always, till I have a better outro. Chill.
Did you really think I wasn't gonna find out what you did?
I didn't kill her, Reggie. I didn't kill her.
You will. Is because of you. My home, my family, my life.
Sometimes the people that you trust the most can turn on you with no warning.
It's the feds that you need to be worried about. Everything you do is always for you.
You lost me a long time ago, Ghost.
Did you really think I wasn't gonna find out what you did?
I didn't kill her, Reggie. I didn't kill her.
You will.
That was a big assault on my organization.
Tommy got in over his head.
It seems now so have you.
Move that weight and keep your mouth shut. Nobody knows I'm breathing.
Mrs. St. Patrick, we're looking into the whereabouts of Terry Silva.
I want half of everything.
I want you to stay away from Tasha. If your ship is going down, I ain't going down with it.